Okay, so I seem to get a lot of questions from people asking me how they can grow their ARLC private server. So in this video, I'm going to be going through some of my top tips of how you can grow your ARLC private server. So if you do enjoy, please do make sure you drop a like and also subscribe, but let's get straight into it. Okay, so I've put together 5 main points that I think will help you the most in growing your private server. Now, it is fair to say that growing a private server in ERLC, or a roleplay server I guess you could call it instead, is very, very difficult. And the first point is you have to be very, very active. Now, the reason being you have to be very active is you need to be at the top. If I go to listed servers, you need to be at the top of here as much as you can. If you're 28 players, you have to scroll down all this way. People won't do that. But like this server, for example, right at the top, they're definitely going to be growing a lot from being right at the top, and the longer you are at the top 4 is better, obviously, because more people will join. And yes, you won't always be at the top, but the more server startups you do, the more likely you are to be at the top if it's a public server. And then obviously later on you can think about going into kind of private servers and stuff like that. But for starting off, obviously you want your server to be public and not like a private whitelisted community. And as you can see, this server, good example, just lost one person, and you can see they've just dropped all the way down here into the middle of nowhere where you can't really see it. Now this server's at the top, and this one you're going to want to join, and you can see straight away they're already advertising their Discord server code here, all of that kind of stuff. So be active, definitely be active, and then also if you grow a community as well, then they'll be more active and they'll be joining your server startups a lot more. Now the second point is definitely one that I feel a lot of servers kind of miss out on. So a lot of private servers in ERLC are very, very toxic. They think they're the best server in the world. They think they're against all these things, you know. I know one server, I'm not going to name it, but if the owners are watching, they'll definitely know. They're very extreme about their copyright. It's almost ridiculous. If you're going to be so, you know, intense about your copyright, like, you know, you can't like have a server. Like a good example, for example, is this server. They didn't really allow any servers with a similar name to exist, and they would just kind of take that server down, and it was very, very bad, and they were really toxic about it, and they were way too extreme. At the end of the day, it is an ERLC private server inside of Emergency Response Liberty County, which is a Roblox roleplay game. You can't be too strict, you can't be toxic. You are going to get younger players, you can't hate on them. If you don't want younger players on your server and you don't want to deal with them, don't play ERLC. Don't have a private server in ERLC. Go to 5M, go to GTA, go to another game that isn't like this, you know, not even on Roblox, because you're gonna get kids, you're gonna get people that are a little bit annoying, you're gonna get people that, you know, don't meet your age requirements or whatever, and, you know, they don't really know what they're doing, and obviously if they're young, that's not their fault. But yeah, if you're not gonna be accepting of that, then don't do it. And also be accepting that there are thousands of servers, many will have a similar name to yours, and if you're not going to be accepting that, there's going to be, you know, like Texas Roleplay, for example. Think how many servers there are with Texas Roleplay. If I created a Texas Roleplay server right now and got really toxic because everyone else had a server called Texas Roleplay or something like that, that's not going to work for me. It's not going to work. You have to be accepting there will be servers similar to yours, and you have to allow it, and you can't go around saying, oh, I'm better than this server, join our server, we're better. Don't do that. Don't be toxic, because honestly it's so annoying, and personally I hate it so much, and so do other people. Now another thing is a more kind of personal point that not too many people bring up when talking about how to grow a server, so it's kind of making sure you're being open. I know a lot of servers are really, really sensitive on loads of different restrictions. They have so many different rules in place, and it's not really very fun to play. Like, you're not allowed to use barely any cars because, you know, they're either restricted or something. So make sure your cars aren't restricted. Obviously, you know, you might not want people driving around in Lamborghinis and Bugattis. That's completely fine. Restrict a few, but don't go restricting every single car, so the only car people can drive around is like a Chevrolet Impala, because people don't want that. And then they'll obviously leave, and then you won't be at the top of the server list, which is ultimately what you want and how you grow the best, as I talked about at the start. So just make sure you're open, have your rules strict so good roleplay takes place, and that kind of leads me on to the next point as well. But obviously with this point, making sure you're being open, making sure there's things people can do. Don't have all of your jobs restricted to training. If someone wants to work at 3 Guys as a roleplay job, let them. Don't bother going through an entire training for that. It's unrealistic, especially when you're starting off. Maybe if you like Simulations RP, for example, and you have a massive community already and you want the best of the best roleplay, go for it, create all that kind of stuff. But for the starting, where people are just getting to know your server, don't do it. There's no point. I have just run out of fuel. Can I get to the fuel station in time? Definitely not. No, I can't. Let's just reset. But yeah, going on to the next point, have good moderation, but have good roleplay at the same time. Have an active moderator, have active moderators in your game, but make sure they're not interfering with the roleplay. If someone runs a red light, don't call it fail roleplay. It's not fail roleplay. People do it in real life. Let the officers deal with it, and don't become a really strict, power-hungry moderator who starts chasing people around, teleporting to people, telling them not to do this, giving them stupid warnings, verbal warnings, whatever. Don't do it. Let people roleplay. Let people have fun. Obviously, if you're going to be joining servers, don't go around running every single red light. Be realistic as well, otherwise yes, moderators should come up to you and stop you. But just from running one red light, or every now and then, I guess, I don't know, each server is different on this, but maybe having a pursuit every now and then, depending on what you've done. Sure, if you've run a red light and you're running from the cops, no. If you've robbed the bank and you're running from the cops, fair enough. Obviously, don't go robbing the bank either, because that's not too good roleplay. Obviously, if you're in some kind of gang and it's like a one-off occasion, sure, it's fun, it's realistic. That's the aim of the game, is to have fun and have good roleplay and realism. But if you're a moderator or if you're a server owner, make sure your moderators aren't too strict. Don't have moderators teleporting to people left, right and centre. It's not fun, it's very boring, no one likes it, and it will make people leave, because power hungry moderators are the worst thing you can have, and sadly a lot of people are power hungry moderators these days. So just try and avoid them at all costs. And if you're a server owner, do a lot of research and open applications, and take a lot of time in selecting hand-selected moderators who you think will do the best job, and train them well, because obviously that is how your server's going to grow. They are the faces of your server. If you don't have good moderators, there's going to be bad roleplay, people aren't going to join, and people are going to leave. And obviously if you're trying to grow, you don't want that. And then the final one is a little bit off topic, but it's have a good way of advertising. I guess it's not really off topic, but making sure you're consistently advertising. Have partners with other servers, have partners with servers that are bigger than you, but also have partners with servers that might be smaller than you. But say if I'm a Texas roleplay server owner and I see a New York roleplay server with a few less members, partner with that New York roleplay server, because you do get people that do it from like their country. Like me, I'm from the UK. I joined some UK roleplay servers, and if I was from Texas, obviously I'd join Texas roleplay servers, but I would still play other servers as well. If I was from Texas and I owned a Texas roleplay server, then I would do that, but I would also join like New York roleplay servers as well. So make sure you partner with servers that are different and have a different community, because then you might attract some people from that New York server to your Texas server. It's still the same, it's just a different area, but it's still same physics and all that. I've run out of fuel again. That's just great, I keep forgetting. Interact with different communities. Let's put it this way. Imagine you're a Texas roleplay server, you have 1,000 members. A New York roleplay server with 500 members comes up to you and asks you to partner. Now, what would you do? The best thing for you to really do at that situation is accept the partner from the New York server. They have 500, probably 500, maybe a few will be in your server, but most of the people in that server will not be in your server, and most of them will be obviously from New York area or New York base, so you can attract them kind of people to your Texas roleplay server, which is what you want. You're expanding to a new audience, and you're obviously getting more people in your server, which is the end goal. I realise some of this might not make too much sense to you, but rewatch it a couple of times if you want, and eventually I hope it will go in a little bit more. But yeah, this definitely, I think are definitely some good tips, and I definitely think they would work. I don't have a roleplay server myself, but if I were to create one, these are definitely tips I would use, and I do think they would genuinely work, because obviously it's common sense. If you're toxic, people are going to leave. If you're not active, people aren't going to know that your server even exists. If you have bad moderation and bad roleplay, people are going to leave. If you have too many restrictions, people can't really drive any car, people are going to leave and go to a different server where you can. If you have no advertising, no one's going to know you exist, and no one's going to join. So they were the top 5 tips I have. If you want more, maybe top 10 or top 15 tips, then please do let me know. I'd love to do it. Thank you so much for watching. Check out everything else from the description, and I hope I see you in my next video. Bye.